In this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual with quite the intriguing fight going at BFL 72. It transpires on April the 28th. We got that BFL featherweight championship on the line. We've got Nick Ouellet and Mateo Vogel testing skills, and happy to be talking to Mateo. How's your day going so far there, man?
It's going great, man. Crush training today. Everything feels awesome.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a shout out for the promotion to black belt recently with BJJ there. I saw that on the Instagram a little bit ago there. That must have been a great feeling.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. A huge life step, honestly. All the people that I looked up to as a kid, they wore that belt. So, see it on myself is it's an honor, man.
Yeah, that seems to be your bread and butter for sure, like kind of the base of everything there for sure. So like who were some of those early guys that like inspired you to get into jiu-jitsu? Like you talk about some of the guys you looked up to wearing that black belt. Like who are some of those guys that were like helpful to you in your formative years there?
Well, my coaches at the time, well, also the Gracies, honestly. Because I really, really liked the Gracies. I really liked watching like the old pride fights and stuff too, and I just like back in the day, But yeah, I could sit here for hours and name off the amount of black belts I look up to. But yeah, all my heroes, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitors who I looked up to, the MMA fighters I looked up to, Renzo Gracie, Hickson Gracie, all these kind of people, all these kind of guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the list could go on and on. I get what you're laying down in that sense, but yeah, just what an incredible journey, I mean, I was seeing it was like 11 and a half years and everything like that. So yeah, just such a, great kind of thing there. But I mean, it must also be exciting to see the other aspects of your game developing in an MMA context. Like how satisfying is it to also see the growth with the striking and everything like that?
It's very gratifying, actually. Yeah, like the amount of the gains we've made in the last little bit have been huge too. I was fortunate enough to fight a few times over the pandemic, and the last couple fights were both tough ones. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that they were tough fights, because when they put me in uncomfortable waters, almost it forced me to make gains real quick in areas that I weren't really my expertise previously. Being kind of dragged into the fire against Garrett Armfield, getting outboxed, getting kind of outperformed by Damon Blackshear by a very slim margin. But yeah, those fights were both super, super tough, and they forced me to grow so quickly. I don't think people are taking that into account, or people even know that. So.
Yeah, well, it seems like those experiences were more, beneficial than not, for sure. Like you said, it wasn't like the Damon Blackshear fight was like one-way traffic or anything resembling that. In fact, I would think there would be, even the benefit of being on a platform like that, just getting a pair of CFFC fights and also being on UFC Fight Pass. Like, is there a certain galvanizing of, your effort and everything like that being on a visible platform like that?
Pardon me?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if like the visibility of the UFC Fight Pass platform is something you enjoyed in those CFFC fights too. Like, did that add something to the run?
Love it. I absolutely love fighting on a big stage. Fight Pass is, it makes it super exciting, because you're in front of a lot of eyes. It makes it a big deal. You know what I mean? It's a very public fight, and when you fight in somewhere like CFFC, like you get to go up against guys who, it's a promotion that's creating a ton of guys going to the UFC. You know what I mean? So you're going up against people who are also going to go on and do really great things going forward as well. You know what I mean? Like, I lost to Damon. Right afterwards, he became the champion in a spectacular fashion. You know what I mean? He beat the guy first round submission with off of a flying knee. But he had to go the distance with me. So it's a real, I think it actually was a great test for me to fight in TFFC. So
Yeah, it seems like some great lessons have been learned for sure. Like, not that you want to necessarily like be like putting yourself in moments like that, but just the comeback at like CFFC 95, like getting that second round rear naked choke. Like, I imagine you learn a lot in those kind of moments too, just getting back from some level of adversity.
Right on Fight Pass, I got to show everybody what I was made of. People know they can't put me away.
Yeah, for sure, some great durability and heart that was shown all throughout that there. But I was noticing that circa March there, it was looking like a Radley De Silva bout there was kind of trending towards BFL 71. Like, were you happy you, I guess, got like a quick kind of turnaround when that didn't pan out there and you were able to secure this fight?
I was, yeah. I was actually really upset about that. Like, that was fucking whack, to be honest with you. Um, like, I was prepared originally for Jamie, and then Jamie obviously has what's going on with him. Like, he's got much bigger things to deal with, and that guy's tough as hell. Like, watching him, like, he's getting back to training even. He's like, that guy's super, super tough. So I was actually looking forward to test myself against Jamie because he's so awesome, man. But yeah, then I had to step up, Radley had to step up after that because Jamie was out of the fight. So I prepared for Jamie, then I started preparing for Radley, and then Radley fucking pulls out like randomly, and I had some weird excuse. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, man, that was actually very frustrating. So like, I'm being very angry that day, but yeah, like the quick turnaround, I'm super thankful for. And I honestly think, yeah, like with the work we've been putting in, I deserve this title shot.
Yeah, and we were talking about different martial arts accomplishments in the context of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Like, what would a BFL featherweight championship mean to you in the context of your MMA career? I would think that would be a good emblematic thing of the progression and everything like that.
It's what we've been going for the. It would be, it would be like the accumulation of my hard work for the past 4 years. We've been grinding for 4 years straight, man. We've been grinding in MMA for 4 years straight. We've had so many people who didn't want to fight me. You know what I mean? So many people legitimately refused to fight me, said no. You know what I mean? I've had long layoffs, and we just kept training, we kept grinding. We joke at the gym, the amount of fight camps I've done is hilarious in comparison to the amount of actual fights I've had. So to finally have this title shot after 5 years it means so much, and it's like the accumulation of that hard work right there.
I'm curious, like you talk about it being difficult to secure a lot of these fights and many bouts kind of falling through there. Is there a certain level of kinship you end up finding you have with your different opponents just because they're facilitating your desire to get out there and compete, and then you have like someone to test skills against? Is there a certain camaraderie almost from competing?
Usually you gain a respect for somebody from fighting them. So like, regardless of like maybe how you mix as people or whatever, but like when you fight somebody, you gain like an automatic respect for them. There's a side of them that you saw which nobody else gets to see. You know what I mean? You truly get to know a side of somebody when you fight them. So I think that's what that creates. That you develop a respect for that opponent after you fought them. That's not always the case though. Like some guys, I don't know, but yeah, like you get to kind of see what that person is made of, and when you gain that respect for them, like Siri, for instance. You know what I mean? I had never talked to Siri before until we fought, and like even recently, we're cool with each other. You know what I mean? Like I want to go train with him. So we both have this mutual respect for each other because we shared the ring with one another.
Yeah, I feel like that would be an iron sharpens iron kind of thing after. Like, I enjoyed that aspect of MMA where like guys will compete against each other and then, be able to train and learn from each other thereafter. It's a cool thing to see.
I agree 100%. It's a big thing. Like there's only maybe one or two. No, there's been like two opponents who were kind of hostile to me afterwards. That was about it. Everybody else was pretty cool. But yeah, they're like, that was a great experience. I want to go about training with Theory. We both got to see like kind of how we feel a little bit different. It's been 2 years since we fought each other, and it was cool to see the improvements that he made, and he's really growing. And yeah, I've seen the gains that he made too. You know what I mean? That guy works super hard, and he's the champion for a reason too.
Yeah, for sure, and that's cool to hear you guys have that, dynamic for sure. I'm kind of curious because you seem like a pretty chill guy. Like, who were the guys getting hostile with you? Like, what were they getting all riled up about? Just trying to get in your head more so, maybe, or?
No, like after the fact. Obviously, there was the DQ, like with Xavier. Like, there's the DQ.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wasn't fucking happy that I upkicked him. So there's that. It's not like we had beef or anything afterwards. I think he was just a little annoyed. And then I don't know, like even Garrett was kind of weird with me afterwards. After I beat him, I could tell he's pissed. You know what I mean? Like I talked to him the next day at the hotel, and he was still kind of like, he was super fucking sour afterwards. You know what I mean? But in that case, I won fair and square. Like, can't be pissed at me for doing my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is kind of curious. I mean, you're just performing and doing your thing. So yeah, kind of curious. Like, it seems like the dynamic with your next opponent though is a little casual and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any banter going on. Like, do you almost prefer when there's more of like not that there seems like there's that leading in, but I mean, seems like you guys are pretty casual and wouldn't have any kind of negative temperament thereafter. So does that make it a little more casual when people can, I guess, realize it's like, oh, it's just, this is an athletic endeavor, as opposed to getting like super like emotional and salty about it, I guess?
Yeah, well, I don't care either way, to be honest with you. I think I kind of used to, but like, I don't care anymore. Like, I've competed so much, I don't really think about things like that. There's all those guys that try to hype themselves up. I can do it either way. You know what I mean? I grew up getting in fights as a kid a lot. Like, people actually beefing me, picking on me, or bullying me, whatever. That doesn't faze me anymore. I think a lot of guys in the fight game are like that. We came up also fighting in life. So yeah, I'm neither here nor there. I don't really care if he's hostile, if he wants to be my bro. I don't really. It's at the end of the day, we're both gonna fight. So the result is the same.
Yeah, I get what you're laying down in that sense, but I was talking about the improvements in the striking that have taken place over the years. I was seeing you were getting in work with Jake Lee Peacock there. That was really cool to see. I mean, he's such a great individual, very inspiring Muay Thai practitioner in many regards. Like, can you speak to the work you've been able to get with him and certain tricks you've been able to pick up from him?
Wealth of knowledge, man. He's got an awesome style. I love his style. Just the way it's Muay Thai style, the way he, like, yeah, man, picking his brain was really, really useful. I got to spar with him, too, and that was really cool, man. Just to see the way that he utilized, like, the different range from both stances. Obviously, like, yeah, man, like, that was, to learn from him was huge. But, yeah, like, he's a wealth of knowledge, and, like, the things I was able to pick up from him were, like, nothing like fancy or crazy like that. Like, things that you already know, but just from an expert perspective. You know what I mean? Basic things from an expert perspective.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like the super refined basics are kind of what wins championships, that sort of adage in martial arts.
It's usually what the best guys are doing. It's just they make the best use of the simple moves. I mean, they're doing all the same stuff. They're just making better use of one tool, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool you were able to get in that kind of work and pick up some tricks. But just in talking about your upcoming opponent here, it seems like he's inclined in the submission space as well, just in the sense that his two pro finishes are via submission there. And I feel like that's probably something that would excite you, I imagine, just indulging the grappling end of things. Or do you not really, have a preconceived idea of where you want the fight to go and you're kind of just fluid once you're in the cage?
I'm going to flow with it, man. I'm going in there. This is MMA. I didn't sign up for a jiu-jitsu tournament. But at the same time, in the jiu-jitsu, I'm better. And the only people who don't know that seem to be the people out west, because they don't know that their scene isn't on our level. You know what I mean? Like, the Ontario jiu-jitsu scene is freaking strong, man, and I've been competing in it for 11 years. I don't think people understand that difference. Like, there's black belt, and there's fucking black belt. You know what I mean? I've been competing since the beginning. Like, at one point I was competing like every week, every second week, like in some seasons, you know. So like, or in some years, like I was competing every couple weeks. So I came up with a lot of competition experience grappling. Like, this is separate, like, from somebody who's, you know, just gone to the ranks and maybe he's competed too. I don't know, but like, I put in time on the jiu-jitsu mat, and this is why I out-grapple everybody. I'm more experienced than them, literally. But whatever. I don't know. Wherever it goes, I feel confident. This is MMA. Like, I've become a complete MMA fighter. I was just telling you, I'm a couple years in now. This isn't, like, I'm not new to MMA anymore. I'm super excited to show the full skill set.
Yeah, in terms of Nick Ouellet's skill set, like, I mean, I was talking about in terms of like a, you know, results oriented context, the submission grappling, but like in terms of his overall game, like, are you delving into a bit of tape study and picking up on certain things he's doing, or is that more allocated to your coaches and you're individually refining your skills?
I watch footage with the coaches, absolutely, but yeah, I watch footage with the coaches, you know, with any opponent. But at the end of the day, I'm focused on myself. That's always how I am. I'm focused on what I want to do, and I'm focused on my game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that follow the Canadian scene are going to be focused on this one for sure. And I want to, you know, be mindful of your schedule and everything like that, Mateo. I appreciate you coming on and giving some great insights. But is there anything you might want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, man?
All I can say is I'm excited to, man. I'm excited to represent, like, where all my hard work's been going. Like, this fight, I really think is a meaningful one, and it's, again, 4 years in the making. This is going to be a defining fight for me in my career, and it's going to be a real, like, turning point in my career. I honestly believe. So I would say it's one to tune into, because it's going to be big.
Yeah, I think a championship like this would really jettison any aspiring martial artist to some really great directions for sure. And people can check that out April the 28th when BFL 72 broadcasts on UFC Fight Pass. And yeah, thanks so much again, to reiterate, for coming on the show, man. You enjoyed the rest of your night there, and just, yeah, looking forward to peeping the fight too.
Thank you so much.
All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, we've got quite the fight going down at BFL 72, and that transpires on April the 28th. The BFL Featherweight Championship is up for grabs. We've got Mateo Vogel and Nicholas Ouellet getting out there and testing skills on UFC Fight Pass, and happy to be welcoming Nicholas onto the show for the very first time. How's your day going so far, man?
So far, so good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's cool to be able to talk to you, man. I imagine, you know, like vying for this title is like a pretty big thing for you, just in the sense of it seems like you've been under the BFL banner for a while, and just like having like an amateur belt under their banner. Like, how important would it be to capture a professional title under the BFL banner for you?
Oh, it means a lot, man. Obviously, it's surreal. It's a big opportunity, and yeah, I'm just thankful, man. I'm just grateful to be in this position to fight for the BFL featherweight title, and I'm excited to showcase my skills, man.
And I'm kind of wondering, like, I mean, you're relatively earlier on in your career, like, what kind of inspired you to go the route of, you know, competitive martial arts? Was there like an entry point kind of moment where you saw MMA and you realized, oh yeah, I really want to get into this? Or was it like a gradual kind of, oh, I like this sport, might be cool to try it out?
I've been training since I was in diapers. My dad used to own karate schools and kickboxing schools in Quebec, so I grew up with the martial arts, mostly stand-up, so I did karate all growing up, and I obviously started watching the UFC at a pretty young age. Like, my first fight I've ever watched was BJ Penn against Cal Uno, where he got that flying knee.
Oh yeah.
And I remember watching that and being, man, what is this stuff? This is crazy. And I started watching it, and I found jiu-jitsu when I was 14, and then I just fell in love with mixed martial arts in general. I just started training every day and just kept the ball rolling. And I knew eventually I wanted to compete in MMA, but I basically just took my time. You know, I did a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments. I made sure everything, you know, I just made sure that my training was in order, and then I decided to have my first amateur fight. And yeah, so basically just kept the ball rolling from there. I knew eventually I was always going to end up as a professional fighter. Since I was in middle school, I was always telling my teachers that that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, man.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about the family kind of connection there in a sense. Like, it seems like that transfers to the training as well. Like, I was seeing an article about, Raphael there and everything like that, and just the Powell River, MMA community by proxy there. So it seems like a very communal kind of thing in a lot of regards from early on for you there.
Oh yeah, me and my brother have been training together since the get-go. You know, obviously being brothers, we're really close in age, so we've been training partners since we started, and we just help each other get better every time we train. And yeah, we both knew at a very young age, as soon as we watched the UFC, we both knew that this is what we wanted to do, and we wanted to take it as far as we possibly could. And yeah, we're on the right track, man. We're just keeping the ball rolling, and one fight at a time, we're taking over.
Yeah, for sure. You love to see that for sure, the brotherly connectivity and everything like that. But I'm kind of curious, like, who you're predominantly working with, like, outside of that dynamic there. It seems like there's a few people at, Powell River BJJ that you hone skills with.
Yeah. I run this school there at Powell River BJJ, and other than my brother Raph, I have my main training partner Nelson Sprue, who really helps me out with the hard rounds, and he's really scrappy, and he's a purple belt under Andrew Thistle, my coach. And I do a lot of work with my father as well, of course, and he's helping me a lot with the striking and the pad work and all that good stuff. So yeah, I have a good team going on. I have a lot of high level students that are not well known, but they're all amazing. They give me everything they got every time. And the team is growing, so that's kind of the goal, right? I want to fight to improve and legitimize the business. I want to legitimize what I teach. I want to legitimize myself so that the team can grow, and we can only get better from there.
Yeah, it's an awesome mentality to have there, man, and cool that you were able to get a quicker, turnaround and an opportunity to be able to, do that and keep building on what you were talking about there. Because I saw you were looking to fight a bit earlier in the calendar year, circa March, and then certain injuries getting involved whereby your opponent had to pull out, and it seemed like it was frustrating initially, but I imagine a level of relief when you figured out there was going to be a pretty quick turnaround provided.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's always super disappointing, especially when it's 2 weeks out or whatever. It's like, oh fuck, it sucks, but yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm super thankful for the opportunity. And right away, as soon as my last opponent pulled out, I was reassured that the next card I'm on for the title. So I was, it was quickly better for me, because I just went right back to training and had a new date and a new opponent. Basically got the opponent right away. Mateo was supposed to fight. His opponent fell through as well. So, yeah, it just fell into place, man.
And you were talking about just coaching and imparting technique to people. Different fighters I've spoken to have talked about that and have said that, like, teaching actually, like, further, emboldens their understanding of the technique and kind of, like, allows for even more nuance, like using it in a competitive kind of sense. Like, have you noticed that, or is it just like the scale's a little different because you're teaching maybe certain people who are kind of entry level with some of the techniques and there's not that crossover? Like, what do you think about that?
Oh, it definitely helps me a lot. I love teaching because of that. I love being not challenged, but I love being questioned. Like, sometimes I'll show a couple techniques and I'll get some really good questions that make me have to think. It makes me have to break it down, and it makes me have to figure it out with them. And I think it just betters everybody. And especially for my progress, I think it's a big deal that I teach every day. Even the very basic kids classes. You know, I teach all the kids classes with my girlfriend Deidre, and you know, she trains under me as well, and we really break it down into steps, and you have to be able to get the nuances in order when you teach, and I think that helps the performance and that helps the skill level as well for me, because, you know, fundamentals have to be in check.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it for sure, and it's cool that you have that, you know, dynamic with the person you're with and everything like that. Was that something they noticed you were passionate about and then developed a curiosity from that, or like how did that all kind of come about there? Because I imagine that's cool for you to be able to, you know, train with your girlfriend and everything like that.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, just like training with your partner, like you mentioned that there. I imagine that's a cool dynamic. Was like that an interest she developed, just seeing how passionate you were with it, and was like, oh, hey, it'd be cool to show me a thing or two.
Actually, it was her daughter that I was teaching. She would always be there watching me teach the classes with my coach Andrew, and her daughter Grace was 5 when she started, and yeah, so basically she started watching me teach her daughter, and then the years passed. You know, we'd see each other a lot, and we just, you know, we found love, and basically a couple years later, she used to do roller derby, and the people that do roller derby in town here, it fell through, and there was just nowhere to train, and she was really bummed out and looking for something new to do, and, you know, naturally she was like, oh, let me try jiu-jitsu, and she just really loved it and started training with me every day, and she's now a blue belt, and she's loving it. Done a couple tournaments, and it's been really cool having her help me teach now that she's a blue belt, because it helps. I can see the progress in her game as well, like being able to break things down, and the fundamentals are really sharp, and yeah, it's just a good time, you know, because she has a full-time job as well, which is a big deal, because, you know, I'll teach at night, and if she wasn't teaching with me, we probably wouldn't see each other very often, you know. So it also makes us have spend time together and teach, and yeah, it's just a good time, man.
I was gonna say, probably with the busy schedule, this isn't the case. Has she shown you any like roller derby tricks to kind of, you know, even it out, that you're showing her a little bit of BJJ, or not so much?
No, not so much. That's funny though. Yeah, you never know. I might try it out one day, but yeah, no, it's just kind of, we do a lot of jiu-jitsu, you know. We have a good time teaching, but yeah.
No, that's fun, man. That sounds like a cool dynamic for sure there. But this is a cool matchup. I was talking to Mateo the other day there and everything like that, and he seems focused on this one. Definitely a, you know, talented guy, as you are. So yeah, when I saw the matchup, was definitely excited for it. It seems like both of you have like the strong submission grappling leanings, but obviously this is MMA and you guys have the multifaceted game there. So like when you look at a guy like Mateo Vogel, like are you doing the tape study yourself? Is it mostly like, you know, people internal to your camp doing it and you're focusing on your individual refinement? Like how does that all work?
We all kind of analyze tape. I don't watch too much tape because I'm not too worried about what he's gonna do. I'm more worried about what I want to do in there. But yeah, he's dangerous, man. I like it. He's a really up and coming guy, and really highly touted grappling. He looks very sharp, and that's what I want. You know, I want to fight the guys that are right up there in everybody's minds, so that when I do beat them, I'm taking that spot. You know what I mean? So I'm taking those dangerous fights, and I think Mateo is the perfect opponent for me. I think he's a grappler. I'm a grappler, but I have underrated striking, and I'm excited to show it. And yeah, man, tune in.
Yeah, because even you were talking about like your upbringing, like just your father kind of integrating you into more like striking-based martial arts, from what you seem to be saying there. So, I mean, just on the results level of like seeing your record and everything like that, I think one would think that your base is almost jiu-jitsu, but it's like it just shows how much you've developed that end of the game and that the striking is there and everything like that. Do you feel like in a certain sense you almost have like a weapon that is like not, you know, aware for like everybody? Like it's like you have this like secret tucked in your pocket kind of thing, almost like maybe on, like I said, on a results level, maybe it seems like you're a jiu-jitsu centric guy, but it's like, no, I've been doing striking since I was a young kid there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most of my fights ended pretty quickly because it's MMA, and the clinch and the grappling happens organically, and I'm very comfortable with the grappling. I fell in love with jiu-jitsu. It's my love, you know. So I have a lot of competitions under my belt, so I'm very comfortable grappling under that pressure. And yeah, I feel like my striking's underrated because I haven't been forced to show it yet. So if I can get a hold of these guys and sub them, I'm going to do just that. But if there's somebody who's able to stop my takedowns or whatever and all that stuff, I'll be prepared to show what I can do on the feet. And I think I'm going to try and keep it standing a little bit for the first little while. Try and touch them up on the feet. That's my idea, is to kind of showcase my skills all around, not just the submissions. But if it happens, it happens. You know, if the grappling comes quick, I'll accept it. I'm cool with it. I'm not going to deny grappling because I love it. But yeah, I'm ready for anything.
Yeah, and you talk about showcasing your skills. I mean, just to the dynamic of being on UFC Fight Pass and being under those bright lights and the visibility that kind of comes with that. Does that like galvanize the career progression in a certain sense? Just like I said, being under those bright lights, a certain level of like being on a high stage. Like, does it add to what you're doing in any kind of sense, or perhaps not so much?
It's important to me regardless. I mean, yeah, it doesn't change much, man. I'm if we could be fighting just me and him with no one else watching, and I would take it just as seriously. So the bright lights, that's just all fluff. I love it for sure. It's amazing to have a crowd back, and gonna be great. But I don't want to let any of that get to me. And so far it hasn't. I just have to treat it like a regular. It's a fist fight. At the end of the day, I don't want to think about what other people think of me. I don't want to think, oh, the eyes are on me. Oh, this is for a title shot. Yes, all these things are true, but this is not. I'm not there to feel pressure like that. I'm there to take what's mine. And yeah, man, I just got to be cool, calm, collected, and not let the bright lights get to me.
Yeah, well, it seems like there's a good temperament to be found in there. I would think that would come from the fact that there's the, martial artist as a lifestyle kind of ethos, just, focusing on the task at hand. Like, obviously, like, the outside stuff is kind of nice, but the main pursuit is just getting out there and showing the skills.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just me and him in that cage, right? So that's it. Like, basically, it's always like that. When I'm in there, it's like, man, all of this, and it's just a fight. There's a lot of fluff in this game, and there's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of hype and all this stuff, and it's awesome, like we just said. But at the end of the day, it's a fist fight, man. It's a mixed martial arts contest. We're in that cage, just me and him, and may the best man win.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just, such a compelling fight coming up here and everything like that. And it was good to get some insights from you and have you on here, man. But I do want to be mindful of your time and everything. So is there anything you might want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, man?
Just thank you for having me, man. And I want to thank my team, Powell River, BJJ, everyone involved in this camp, my brother Raph, my girlfriend Deidre, Nelson Sprue, giving me every round he possibly can give me. Andrew Sissel, my coach, he's going to be there in my corner. Jean-Marc Ouellet, my father, who held, endless amounts of rounds on the pads and giving me his insight on the stand-up. And yeah, man, just appreciative of this. I'm appreciative of this opportunity. That's all I can say. So thank you for having me, and tune in next Thursday.
Yeah, it was great getting to talk to you, man. Appreciate you coming on the show, and I'm going to appreciate peeping this fight on April the 28th, UFC Fight Pass, BFL Featherweight Championship on the line, and yeah, going to be cool to see how you and Mateo Vogel plays out. But to reiterate, thanks again for coming on the show, man, and just looking forward to, peeping the fight in a few days.
Thank you, man.